Issues at Iron Man. Hey everybody, Walty Wanderers, buckle up, strap in. We got a hard-hitting, pull no punches, no sugarcoating it, no rainbows or sunshine. I'm just going to give it to you and give it to you straight. We got a good one to unpackage today. Welcome to the show. I hope everybody's doing great. Let's jump back on the Moto merry-go-round and examine the good, the bad, and maybe a little bit of the ugly.
No, Walty only examined rainbows and sunshine and Jorge Prado.
No. Somebody's got to read between the lines and look between the ruts, and we got some ruts to look through today. Iron Man. Welcome to the swimming pool. Big race, a lot to really examine, a lot to unpackage, because we got to read between the lines and look between the ruts. Yes, we can look at the race results on paper and how they can, before we get to that, Bubba, thanks, Bubba.
No problem, Walty. You know how we're doing it.
Bubba pretty much saved the booth. Nothing against Weege. Weege, you're like the Hunter Lawrence of the booth, unfortunately. Bubba is clearly the Wonder Boy, the chosen one, the Moto Messiah in the booth. And he's not even that polished. He trips up on his words more than probably Ricky, or even Walty for that matter. But guess what? See, I just case in point. Bubba, man, for some reason, he's so authentic. He's just a gift. He's just a gift to the sport. So, Bubba, thank you. You don't need to be there. You got right off into the sunset money. You definitely don't need the spotlight and the camera on you. Ricky, not that you necessarily do, but you kind of come across like you need the camera more than the money. It's just a chance. I get it. Probably after being the GOAT and the man, it's hard to ride off into the sunset and just take your money off and go chill. You still want to be the man, and you should be involved with the sport, just not potentially the booth. And our girl, I think her name is Katie. God bless her. Nothing against her. She probably even rides. I think she does. But for some reason, for me, is it just me? And again, I know I'm trying to be politically correct here, but I'm saying the things that probably half, if not all the people watching think. Do you ever get annoyed when you're watching the race and they break away, probably not because they want to, because they have to break away to JT and Katie X amount of times throughout the broadcast, and there's these battles happening as they're talking about...
I was talking about to one of the riders before the race, and they had a bruised heel, and they were unable to ride at full strength.
Who cares? There's racing going on the track. And it'd be one thing if you're talking about the person that we were actually following with the camera, maybe the broadcast or the camera crew, whoever's running this mess at times, actually had the camera on the rider she was talking about. They're definitely not helping her. That's for sure. But, it just, I don't know. I find it kind of annoying at times as we break away to these. JT's pretty good. There's nothing against Katie. And listen, they'd had the WMX as one of the motos. It was fine. La Turner, congratulations. You can go fast. Maybe at some point they'll turn it into a feel-good story and you'll line up in the guys class and qualify for one of the races. Won't that be great? The reality is this is just traditionally a man's sport. So nothing against Katie, who they're apparently, I'm surprised at some point because they're celebrating Pride Month.
The industry would like to welcome all transgenders to the races.
They'll probably, have to have some kind of, Pride alphabet, person, involved with the broadcast. I don't know. But it's starting to kind of smell that way. But now that we got that out of the way, let's jump into some racing. Jett Lawrence, welcome to the swimming pool, because you are a pretty bubbly, happy-go-lucky guy, and you should be. You've got these guys beat with one hand tied behind your back, but you jumped the gate, and because the rule book says if you bump the gate, that's one thing, but you jumped the gate and had an advantage. And I can understand why Jett Lawrence was pissed. He's like, that was a disadvantage. Did you see my start? It would be one thing if I actually hole shotted after jumping the gate. He did it! And he was mad, which is good for us as fans because we got to see him ride mad in the second moto. Now, if he was really mad, we would expect him maybe to do what maybe even our good friend Ricky did once, was lap the entire field, I believe. But he didn't, because the elevation of the sport is clearly much higher. If you'd lined Ricky up at that race, even in his prime today, Ricky's maybe a top 10 guy. The elevation has outpaced you, Ricky, at this point. The equipment, everything. The programs, everything. It's outpaced you. But Jett Lawrence, here's the bigger story. In fact, we got a lot of whistleblowing to do. A lot of reading between the lines, look between the cracks. So if you're new, get subscribed, jump over to the community page, and participate some of the polling, because we're going to break it down and probably get your guys' comments involved, because there's some barn burners throwing your open face in a fresh pair of tear-offs because the roast is going to fly. You see, Jett Lawrence has been going along, playing along with VIP experiences, and jets and donuts and all that, but he, I think, is a little bit annoyed at the industry right now. And you know what happens when you get annoyed with the industry? And that's the industry wants to say, I've heard these reports where the industry's claiming they're under attack by these internet guys. Gosh, here's the thing. And I'm sure I've been on their radar too. Right?
Who's this Walty guy? What, he used to work in the industry? I don't know if we really...
I've not blown apart the industry half as much as I could, because I love it. And they're doing more good than bad. But guess what? It's part of every major league sport. It's called analysts and critics. Gotta have it. I remember when I was trying to get my businesses off the ground in this industry, and I was continuing to get blocked every chance they got to block a new person, even though I was bringing money into the sport for the riders, sponsors. I'm another sponsor. I remember once somebody told me, they're like, hey, Walty, dude, I was online and somebody was talking crap about us. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? Where are they? What did they say? And I paused. I said, you know what? And this is industry, if you're listening, pause and say, you know what? At least they're talking. Any publicity is good publicity, but you guys are so tunnel visioned. You don't see that. I mean, at least I shouldn't say everybody, because some of them get it. And hopefully this is helping you get it. I'm a longtime salesman, trained in the psychology of sales and the psychology of people. And this is good. This is good. No one's blowing you apart. Now, I know when you get involved with people's money, their pocketbook, they get a little bit PO'd. And I know there's some other channels out there that are potentially threatening that. But big picture, it's not. Any publicity is good publicity. So people are talking crap, at least they're talking. But Jett Lawrence, I believe Jett, you may have poked a sleeping bear. Because Jett Lawrence, well, I don't know if he's got it in him to really whistleblow and start reading between the lines and looking between the ruts and exposing the industry, because you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you. And there's so many people in a circle that they're going to try to keep them warm and fuzzy and fit into the mold that we've already created for around the Wonder Boy. But the reality is this. The Wonder Boy did not look happy. And I got to agree with him. I don't think I could see if he got an advantage. This was they brought him and this is the other thing. I don't know. I forgot the guy's name, but who wants to know it anyway? Well, in the world, it's like watching paint dry. It's like, can you get somebody some personality to explain these things to us? Yeah, according to the rule book, section 34.ADB, it says if you jump the gate and get an advantage, it's just automatic. There's nothing we can do. Our hands are tied. Okay, whatever. So that might be the case. But it is what it is. Jett Lawrence clearly was not happy, and he admitted it. So the industry, they might have bit the hand that feeds them, in a sense. Now, I understand if your hands are tied, you got to hand out the penalty, you hand out the penalty, right? It is what it is. And I don't know about you guys, but I was stoked. I was stoked when I saw him got a bad start, because I said, maybe this will turn into a race. Because if he pulls a whole shot, he ain't going to win. And speaking of that, Chase Sexton had the win. And Chase Sexton, he's got to be so annoyed with KTM right now. And it's so ironic, because now we're getting whispers that Jorge Prado, George, who was Jorge today. Barely. Actually, Justin Cooper caught him at the end of the second moto and turned him back into George. Dude could clearly ride. But for some reason, we're not letting him off the hook. Not letting him off. That kid could win. He may as well pack it in and go back to Europe. I hear there are whispers he's actually looking at a deal with KTM. And it's kind of ironic because here goes Chase to Cowie. Now they let go of El Hombre, who is pretty loyal to them, and they're about to inherit Chase and a disgruntled George. So it's so funny the way the suits are just messing things up in some sense. Now, a lot of this stuff you can't control. This is Moto. It's modern day gladiator games, a blood sport. So you're not going to get these guys to be squeaky clean, and they shouldn't be. But because the media wants to package this up and sell it to the masses as a squeaky clean family apple pie and hot dog sport, and camping is not anymore. On one hand, they want it to remain that field, but on the other hand, they want to generate revenues as the major league sports. It's a niche sport. It's gladiator games, blood sport, Evel Knievel stuff. It ain't going to happen. So you better just get cozy where you're at right now. The level of growth is probably not going to do anything significant. It'll go up a tick or two. And even if it did, I just don't know if it changes the dynamic that much. Now, Chase Sexton, that bike, there's a debate, and I want to know in the comments below. We'll probably be pulling it. Like I said, tear off, open face, community page. The wheel to me looked locked up off of the takeoff. Correct the bike, but rarely, if ever, are you messing with the front brake in the air. You need the front wheels doing its thing. It was stopped. And then clearly the bike, when he tried to get on, it was locked up. I think he caught a rock. I think he caught a rock, probably in the caliper, in the disc, in the cover, something. But that bike looked locked up. Bubba was trying to say he didn't think it was from pre-jump. He thought it was from post-crash. And he might be right. But Chase Sexton still has this dark cloud falling around. He finds a way to fall by himself. He manages the majority of the falls, tip-overs, and stalls. That kind of rhyme. The majority of falls, tip-overs, and stalls. Say that 3 times faster. Just make it into a song if you like. It's actually, might be the opener from now on. We might make that into an opening theme song. We won't. Don't worry. But Chase Sexton, he's over it. Over it at KTM. He wants away from that bike like the plague at this point, which is sad because he went from extreme highs, feeling great about the bike in Moto 1, to just leave this thing on the side of the track. I don't ever want to see it again. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Chase Sexton out until SMX. He could, that crash looked kind of hard. He took a digger. Now, lucky he's built like a linebacker. But here's a good chance. This is gonna be interesting. He might not want to come back and finish the rest of these outdoors. SMX, that's all he needs to do. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me, right? It wouldn't surprise me. But I don't blame the bike. This is motocross, Chase, and whatever. This is moto. The bike is gonna have some failures. It's mechanical stuff. You can catch a rock. These things can happen. But as a rider at this level, of course, you're already leaving. You're already detached from the team. You're already probably emotionally detached from the team. You're just waiting, buying time. You've probably been riding the Cowie here and there at home or somewhere at some secret test track. Who knows? But this is getting gnarly. And Eli Tomac. Eli Tomac let one get away. Now, I would appreciate it as transparency because at first I was like, this ain't good. Eli's pattern has been really similar, right? He's been a little hot and cold. He can go beast mode, but it's becoming more and more rare that we see beast mode. Beast mode might be a little more scarce moving forward. I'm thinking it's probably his age. He probably wishes he had just held true to his retirement plans because he signed up not only ride again, but ride a brand new bike. And I thought it was basically just Eli's age is catching up with him, which it is. But he had said he hasn't, I think, felt good or felt right, or he's fighting something. And so that explained a lot. I think we could still see Eli, if all the planets align, bring out beast mode, but I don't know if it's going to be as consistent as it was. And because they are psychologically beat by the Wonder Boy, it's going to make it even harder. Now, to wrap up the second portion of the show, which will probably not be as long as the first portion. It will not be. The 250s. The 250s, Danger Boy Deegs is clearly feeling better. His leg was probably more jacked than we thought. That time off was starting to show. I was a little concerned about the Deegs because I reported on this in a previous show. He needs to go back to dominating the way he was if he wants to stay in the conversation of even having a chance against Jett. And I think he's starting to understand that. Jett is not worried about you, Danger. He is not worried about you. He doesn't care if you had a better 250 career. He doesn't care about any of that. It doesn't matter until you've gotten to the 450. Now, there's all these talks about you coming to the 450, but of course you're not, especially now because they leaked it before you wanted to. And I don't blame you. You don't think you should ride the 450 yet. And if you were, I would want to be the one that announces it. I certainly wouldn't want the Moto mainstream swamp media announcing it and then feeling obligated to do it. And there's no financial incentive. And then why do it and ruin the anticipation? And you did the right thing. You negotiated your 450 contract prior to showing them what they were getting. Because right now, you're not going to come into the 450s and do any better than you are in the 250s. Now, the good thing is Danger Boy Deegan went back to domination. He's looking good. He's even backed, and they mentioned this on the broadcast, he's even backed down some of the back talk that he usually gives. Now, Deegs, I think you need to go back to full send, baby, suck it. You know, I got to take a dump. I think you need to bring all that back. But I think the industry sat you down, and they probably threatened to fine you if you do that anymore. And they might have fined you for saying it in the first place. But this is all coming to the clash of two titans, right? We've always had that, the Bubba, the Ricky era, the McGrath Ricky era, the Villy Dungy era. Like, we've always had it where there's two guys, right? And every once in a while, though, there's just one guy that's just dominating for boring seasons, right? McGrath pretty much was the guy for a long time, then Ricky, and then Bubba. It was just the duration of how long they were able to dominate. Well, that's Jetson right now. And there's only one guy really right now that looks like potentially they're going to be able to do it, and that's the Deegs. But like I said, the Deegs, it's a ways off. It's going to be the outdoors unless he decides to race one in Supercross. But in this day and age, things have changed. In the past, yes, we've seen guys come into the four and maybe the last round if they wrap up a championship or if they're on the opposite coast to bring the 450 out with no pressure. But Deegs has got tons of pressure. So there's no way he's going to do it. There's just no way until he has to ride the 450 or he's getting financially paid. And we didn't financially incentivize guys in the past to go debut the 450 or ride one in the opposite coast or if they wrapped it up early. No. Publicity stunt like Kenny racing the 250 last year in the outdoors? Yes. Because it was a publicity stunt. He was concentrating on blowing up Instagram like he did before he went to Hep Suzuki. He blew up by teasing people with posts. This was something they wanted to continue to do because you can sell your reach if you've got a big online reach. So that was purely a marketing position to do that. So unless there's financial gain, they've got these things and management companies and agents all under a microscope managing their every move. Every move. Last but not least, before we wrap this thing up, Deegan may have saved Team USA because no one's beating Team Australia. Jett and Hunter, I don't think Chase and Eli, they proved it today. They just don't have what it takes to beat those guys. Now, even we're going to be on home soil. But with that third rider, with Deegan, it might give us a fighting shot. I think we're still going to need a little bit of luck, but this could, in fact, be our silver bullet. And final thoughts, I come to you as a friend, as a content creator, as a moto guy. I want to see you not only win on the track, off the track. Understand the waters you're swimming in now. They're shark infested. Iron Man, welcome to the swimming pool. We had a lot of reading between the lines and looking between the ruts. It's not about the results. We've got to talk about what's really going on out there. And that's what we did today. Congratulations to everybody that found this channel and stuck with it. We're going to continue to blow the lid off it every step of the way because it's not only what we need, it's in fact what we deserve. If you appreciate the content, I want to humbly ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Social media link in the description of this video if you'd like to contact me there, along with links to channels I've appeared on I think you might enjoy. If you enjoyed this video, gonna love the next video. And there's an easy subscribe icon for your convenience. As always, thank you for your time. Don't go over the bars. God bless. I'll see you on the next video.